Everyone thinks they know Alabama, but there's another one, hidden right under it. The land that built everything before the highways came. Farmers shaped the soil. Miners carved the hills. Families built towns beside rivers and canyons. When the work ended, people left, but the land didn't stop. Forests grew through broken streets, and caves swallowed what time forgot. But if you look closely, the past never really left. In Spectre, a town built for a film still stands on a private island. Its streets and homes left exactly as they were when the camera stopped. At Little River Canyon, water still carves through stone older than the Appalachians. And in Castleberry, empty buildings sit along quiet streets. A town that never recovered from the promise it once chased. Stay with me as we uncover Alabama's most extraordinary wonders, where rare discoveries and forgotten mysteries might change the way you see this state forever. At the edge of Mobile Bay stands Fort Morgan, a fortress that's seen more than most places ever will. Once hailed as the finest example of military design in the New World, it remains a masterpiece of both strength and strategy. For 15 years, skilled masons stacked over 46 million cubic yards of bricks to form its star-shaped walls. That is enough bricks to build an entire small city. That distinctive star wasn't for show. Every angle served a purpose, providing soldiers a clear line of defense against incoming artillery fire. From the Civil War to World War II, the fort adapted to the times, housing more than 2,000 troops at its peak during World War I. Nearly 2 centuries later, Fort Morgan still protects the bay, with its old walls now preserved as a historic park. Imagine building an entire town, houses, a church, and dusty roads, then leaving it behind like a forgotten dream, just as Tim Burton did when he created Spectre for Big Fish. Burton's crew intentionally made the buildings look old and falling apart for later scenes in the film, so the town appeared abandoned on the day it was completed. The buildings were only shells made for filming. Most homes don't have real floors or inside walls beyond what cameras could see. Years later, sparks from a cleanup fire jumped across the road and burned down the entire commercial district, wiping out several buildings in one go. Visitors walking through the empty town report hearing footsteps following them and spotting figures in windows, even though most structures are just hollow shells. Nobody knows who keeps replacing the shoes that hang on the line at the entrance after storms rip them down, but new shoes always mysteriously appear. For just $3, anyone can walk through the gate and explore this place, where goats roam between crumbling buildings that exist somewhere between a movie set and a ghost town. Gulf Shores was once called Little Lagoon, before a small group of farmers and fishermen settlers changed the name to match the beachfront location. Pirates turned the twisting bayous and hidden back bays into their personal hideout spots, sneaking up on ships like thieves hiding behind curtains. When a hurricane ripped through the area, it dumped so many nutrients into the dirt that sweet potatoes swelled up to the size of beach buckets. Legends say that Gulf Shores supposedly carries a curse from a woman who drowned under sketchy circumstances, and now her angry spirit hunts anyone who gets too close to the water. Those same white sand beaches and warm Gulf waters pull in thousands of seabirds every year, including the royal tern. Along the Gulf Shores coastline, these birds stand out with their thick orange bills and sharply forked tails, easy to spot among the busy beaches. They're expert hunters, diving from as high as 30 feet to snatch small fish and shrimp with their dagger-like bills before gliding back into the air. During nesting season, massive colonies form on Gaillard Island in Mobile Bay, where thousands of nests crowd together, sometimes just a foot apart. Royal terns travel impressive distances while foraging, sometimes venturing more than 50 miles offshore when feeding their young, far beyond where most coastal terns hunt. These seabirds patrol the area that makes up Gulf State Park. Stretching across thousands of acres, this is where white sand beaches meet freshwater lakes, pine forests, marshes, and winding coastal streams. In 1934, the Civilian Conservation Corps arrived and built many of the park's first cabins, paths, and picnic areas, the foundation of what it would become. Gulf State Park has transformed into a modern, eco-focused resort destination with a rebuilt pier, long scenic trails, and plenty of family-friendly spaces to explore. The park's freshwater lakes and coastal marshes attract wading birds like the great blue heron. They patrol the shallows, standing motionless for minutes like blue-gray statues until prey swims close enough to strike. When a fish drifts within reach, the heron's neck uncoils like a spring-loaded weapon, attacking faster than the eye can follow. When they catch a fish, they toss it in the air and swallow it head first to avoid injury from sharp fins or spines. At times, some daring herons even leave the water behind, hunting gophers and mice in nearby meadows and farmland, a habit few of their kind ever develop. Great blue herons defend feeding territories with dramatic displays, spreading their wings and making aggressive postures to warn away intruders. The nestling period lasts an incredibly long time, with young birds staying in the nest for nearly 3 months before they're ready to leave. What sets great blue herons apart is their size. They're the largest in North America and often wade into belly-deep water where others won't. Point Clear sits on the eastern shore of Mobile Bay, once a retreat for wealthy families in the early 1800s who believed the fresh air could protect them from yellow fever. At its center stands the Grand Hotel, first built as a 2-story inn with 40 rooms and a small bar called the Texas. Each day, the hotel fires a cannon to honor the soldiers who once stayed there and those buried nearby. The community is known for its Victorian homes with wraparound and unique rain porches that provide shade and protection during sudden Gulf storms. Point Clear is also characterized by massive live oak trees draped in Spanish moss that create a quintessential southern coastal atmosphere. Smith Lake was formed when Alabama Power built a dam that flooded an entire community. Its clear, deep blue waters make it one of the cleanest man-made lakes in the U.S., popular for fishing and recreation with over 600 miles of shoreline. The lake plunges to about 264 feet, deep enough to swallow a 26-story building, making it one of the deepest lakes in Alabama. These cold, deep waters attract diving birds like the double-crested cormorant. Hunting in Smith Lake, these cormorants have feathers that aren't waterproof like most water birds, allowing them to sink and chase fish underwater like torpedoes instead of floating on top like corks. After each dive, they perch on rocks or branches, spreading their wings wide like dark angels to dry completely soaked feathers. With unique hooked beaks, they grab fish, flip their catch into the air, and swallow it head first, like circus sword swallowers. During courtship, males try to impress females by swimming in zigzag patterns, vibrating their wings while crouching and calling, and diving to grab weeds as if picking flowers for a date. The acidity of their droppings is so strong that it kills entire trees at nesting sites, creating dead forests visible from miles away. Along the rocky shoreline where these blackbirds dry their wings, bright yellow black-eyed Susan flowers bloom in the summer sun near Smith Lake. Black-eyed Susans paint Smith Lake's rocky shorelines with bright golden yellow flowers from June through October, keeping the landscape colorful long after other plants have stopped blooming. The dark center eye is actually made up of hundreds of tiny individual flowers, each one holding nectar that attracts bees, butterflies, moths, and other pollinators throughout the summer. The flowers spread so aggressively that they can take over entire areas, turning bare ground into fields of yellow in just one season. The ruins of the Alabama state capitol stand on a hill in Tuscaloosa, where broken columns and crumbling walls form an eerie blend of genuine ruins and modern reconstructions. The building served as Alabama's seat of government for just 2 decades before the capital moved to a more central location, leaving Tuscaloosa to fade economically. After the relocation, the old State House became a women's college until 1923, when a construction worker accidentally set the dome on fire during repairs. The flames spread so quickly that the entire structure was gone within hours. In the aftermath, townspeople salvaged bricks from the ashes and used them to build homes, scattering fragments of the old capital throughout Tuscaloosa. For nearly 70 years, the site sat forgotten and overgrown, with grass covering the mounded ruins before preservation efforts began. Pirates Cove sits where Roberts Bayou meets Arnica Bay near Alberta, first built in the mid-1930s as a bunkhouse and general store for workers digging the Intracoastal Waterway. By 1957, it had transformed into a laid-back waterfront bar, soon famous for its bushwhacker cocktails, cheeseburgers, and a lively crowd of regulars swapping sailing tales. Pirates Cove stands as a beloved marina and restaurant, a favorite haven for locals, boaters, and beach lovers alike. Its bustling docks welcome visitors from around the world who tie up their boats and gather at the bar to share stories of the sea. Beyond the marina's buzz, the magnificent frigate bird can be spotted across Alabama's Gulf skies. Along the coast near Pirates Cove, these seabirds ride thermal currents for hours without flapping their wings, gliding with effortless grace that makes them one of the ocean's most skilled aerial hunters. With the highest wing-to-body ratio of any bird on Earth, they can reach speeds of up to 95 miles per hour and stay aloft for days without landing. But this adaptation comes with limits. Unable to swim or take off from water, they rely on speed and cunning to survive. Known as sky pirates, frigate birds chase gulls and other seabirds in midair until their victims drop or regurgitate their catch, which the pirate sees before it touches the waves. When hunting on their own, they snatch flying fish and squid straight from the air as the prey leap from the surface. Juveniles are recognizable by their white heads and chests. Females share the same white chest, but have black heads, while males are completely black with a vivid red throat pouch. This balloon-like feature expands so large it obscures the bird's head and forms a heart-like shape. During courtship, in one of nature's most dramatic displays, up to 30 males gather, flapping their wings and drumming their bills as they inflate their bright red throat pouches to attract females. Cahaba sits where two rivers meet in Alabama, and it's known as one of the 10 spookiest ghost towns on the planet, where people hear strange sounds and see weird lights even during the day. The president gave this undeveloped land to Alabama to serve as its capital, leading to the construction of a state house, courthouse, shops, offices, a railroad terminal, an academy, and churches. But just 6 years later, the capital was moved, and the town was abandoned, as constant flooding made it unlivable and left many residents sick. The town came back to life as a cotton shipping center with over 3,000 people living there, but then the Civil War turned it into a nightmare prison camp. Cahaba's haunting reputation intensified during the war, when soldiers packed sick prisoners into a small warehouse meant for far fewer people. After a terrible flood, the freed men boarded a steamboat that later exploded, killing many who had just escaped the camp's misery. Old Cahaba Archaeological Park has become a preserved ghost town where visitors can explore ruins, streets, cemeteries, and a few remaining buildings. Little River Falls plunges 45 feet at the entrance of Little River Canyon National Preserve. It's clear, rushing water tumbling into a rocky pool below and carving its way through the surrounding forest. The fall set a record water flow of more than 11,000 cubic feet per second in 2014, breaking the previous record from the 1960s. Its towering sandstone cliffs and forested uplands around the preserve provide ideal habitat for cedar waxwings, which arrive to feast on berries growing along the canyon rim. These sleek, crested birds survive on the abundant fruiting trees in the area, sometimes gorging themselves to the point of being unable to fly. When they encounter overripe berries that have started to ferment, cedar waxwings become intoxicated and exhibit erratic behavior, making them vulnerable to window collisions and cat attacks. Unlike most North American birds that breed in spring, they delay nesting until late summer to coincide with the ripening of berry crops. Being highly social, these travel in flocks year-round, appearing wherever food is abundant, and vanishing just as quickly in eruptive movements similar to crossbills. Flocks perched on branches engage in a curious ritual of passing berries, bill to bill, strengthening social bonds until one bird finally swallows the fruit. What sets them apart from all other North American birds are their red, waxy wingtips that look like drops of sealing wax melted onto their feathers, though scientists still don't know the purpose of these mysterious secretions. These unique markings, combined with their black masks and yellow belly bands, make them unmistakable once spotted. Huntsville sits in the Tennessee River Valley of northern Alabama, known worldwide as the Rocket City, where scientists developed the rockets that sent humans to the moon. A rapidly growing and dynamic hub for aerospace and defense technology, the city consistently ranks among the best places to live in the United States, with a strong and diverse economy that draws professionals, families, and businesses. This city now houses the world's largest space museum, the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, where visitors can see the actual rockets that sent humans to the moon. Inside, the museum displays rockets and artifacts tracing America's journey from early rocketry to modern space exploration, while outside, the full-scale Space Shuttle replica Pathfinder towers over the grounds as a monument to human ingenuity. Among its highlights are the Apollo 16 command module that once orbited the moon, and moon rocks that visitors can touch with their own hands. At its heart, the massive Saturn V rocket, stretching longer than a football field, stands as the museum's crown jewel and a reminder of humanity's greatest leap. Just outside this temple of technology, Alabama's state flower blooms each winter, defying the cold season when most plants refuse to flower. The camellia became Alabama's state flower in 1959, after garden enthusiasts lobbied to replace the native goldenrod, which they dismissed as a common weed. Seen as a more refined and elegant symbol, the camellia came to represent the grace and culture of the South. These blooms appear in shades of white, pink, red, and even yellow, with some growing as large as a human hand. Interestingly, it's the only state symbol not native to Alabama, an immigrant flower that found a permanent home. The flower has become a beloved symbol that appears on Alabama's state quarter and is celebrated in festivals and events throughout the year. Stretching across more than 44,000 acres of water and 880 miles of shoreline, Lake Martin ranks among the largest man-made lakes in the southeastern region. In fact, it's Alabama's only designated treasured lake, celebrated for its pristine water, recreational appeal, and ecological importance. During summer, Acapulco Rock becomes a famous cliff-jumping hotspot, where crowds of boaters and thrill-seekers gather to watch daring leaps from cliffs as high as 60 feet, surrounded by music, parties, and colorful graffiti. Just beyond it, Chimney Rock rises on a nearby island, marked by a chimney-shaped stone, often mistaken for Acapulco Rock, though it's a scenic lookout rather than a jumping site. Meanwhile, as music drifts across the lake, great egrets glide by with quiet grace. Along the shores of Lake Martin, great egrets stalk the shallows, using their exceptionally long legs to wade into deeper waters as they hunt along more than 880 miles of shoreline. With their impressive stature, standing up to 3.5 feet tall with wingspans stretching over 4 feet, they are the largest white herons gliding through Lake Martin's calm shallows. These patient hunters can spend nearly all their foraging time frozen in place, necks angled like drawn bows, waiting for fish or crayfish to move within range. When prey comes close, the egret strikes like lightning, moving so fast that its target is caught and crushed before it even realizes what happened. During the brief spring breeding season, the yellow skin between their eyes and bills glows a vivid green, a fleeting burst of color that fades once courtship ends. What truly distinguishes great egrets from all other white herons is their contrast of black legs and feet, paired with a bold, yellow-orange bill and tall, statuesque form. While these elegant birds stalk the shallows, American redstarts brighten the nearby forests, with their fiery plumage flashing through the trees above Lake Martin's shimmering edge. These birds complete a 2,000-mile journey from the Caribbean, Central America, and northern South America to reach Lake Martin in late April, traveling exclusively at night to avoid daytime predators and extreme heat. Unlike any other warbler, they hunt by flashing their bright orange or yellow wing patches and fanning their tails to startle insects into flight, an energetic behavior that earned them the nickname candelitas, or little candles. What makes them truly unique is how they use color and motion, not for display, but as a weapon, turning their vivid feathers into tools for catching prey. Castleberry began as a relay stop along a stagecoach route linking remote frontier towns, which soon drew hotels, a blacksmith shop, and a turpentine still processing pine resin from nearby forests. It later rose to fame as the region's strawberry hub, shipping rail cars filled with ripe fruit and earning the title of Strawberry Capital. After the Great Recession, its population declined from the bustling days of the railroad and farming boom, leaving only a few hundred residents who now maintain its historic buildings and celebrate that heritage each spring. Both its commercial and residential districts are recognized for well-preserved structures dating back to the railroad and timber era. Fort Gaines is renowned for its well-preserved 19th century architecture, diverse artifacts, and historical importance as a coastal stronghold. Located at the entrance of Mobile Bay on Dauphin Island, it has guarded the bay for more than 2 centuries, even as the Gulf slowly erodes the shoreline beneath its foundations. The fort played a pivotal role in the Civil War's Battle of Mobile Bay and remains one of the best preserved masonry forts in the United States. Every brick used in its construction was made elsewhere and ferried across the bay, since Dauphin Island lacked the clay needed for brickmaking. Over the years, visitors and staff have reported hearing phantom cannon fire, echoing musket shots, and seeing shadowy figures vanish into dark corridors. Fort Gaines is listed among the nation's most endangered historic sites, as relentless coastal erosion continues to threaten its very foundation. Just beyond the fort's crumbling walls, brown pelicans dive into the Gulf, continuing a different kind of daily battle for fish. They patrol the waters around Fort Gaines year-round, roosting at night on old military jetties and pilings, and gathering by day in large flocks to rest on the beaches between hunting flights. Adults are easy to recognize by their dark brown and gray bodies, white heads with yellow crowns, and large throat pouches that can hold 3 times more than their stomachs. When it's time to hunt, these birds perform one of nature's most dramatic maneuvers, plunging from up to 65 feet, tucking their wings, and rotating nearly 180 degrees before diving bill first and vanishing beneath the surface. As they hit the water, their throat pouch expands like a net to trap up to 2.6 gallons of fish and seawater, which they drain through the sides of the bill before swallowing the catch whole. Brown pelicans have faced severe threats, nearly vanishing twice in the 20th century, first from plume hunting and later from pesticide contamination that caused widespread nesting failures. And today, survival is tough for young pelicans, many of which struggle to master plunge diving and often starve before learning to hunt successfully. Brown pelicans are the only pelican species in the world that plunge dives for fish. All others simply float and scoop their prey from the surface. Orange Beach lies along the Gulf Coast, where white sands and clear waters draw millions each year for fishing, water sports, and coastal adventures. The town takes its name from the orange groves that once flourished after the timber boom, but vanished following a series of devastating freezes, leaving only the name behind. For much of its past, Orange Beach remained isolated, lacking paved roads, electricity, and basic services for decades. Its transformation from a quiet coastal outpost to a resort community began soon after the war, reshaping both its economy and identity. Powerful hurricanes and environmental disasters later tested that progress, destroying homes, piers, and wildlife habitats while crippling tourism and fishing. Yet the town rebuilt again and again, its spirit anchored in the sea. During peak season, this small community swells into one of Alabama's busiest destinations, as visitors fill the beaches while bottlenose dolphins move gracefully through the waters. Their sleek gray bodies have the familiar short, rounded, bottlenose snout and curved mouths that look like smiles, while their streamlined shape allows them to move swiftly underwater. Adults range from about 6 to 12 feet long, their streamlined forms built for speed and precision underwater. In this area, pods usually consist of fewer than 20 dolphins that travel, hunt, and socialize together within familiar territories. Their cooperative hunting relies on teamwork and advanced echolocation to chase down mullet, pinfish, and other schooling fish. Bottlenose dolphins possess unique signature whistles, individual sound identifiers like names, paired with echolocation more precise than human-made sonar. Yet these dolphins face growing dangers from boat collisions, fishing line entanglement, and swallowed hooks left by anglers. Arcola sits along the Black Warrior River, where a Greek Revival mansion known as the Half House was built as the centerpiece of a forced labor plantation that enslaved hundreds of people. This settlement was a part of the failed vine and olive colony established by a group of exiles, but repeated floods, droughts, and failed crops soon drove most settlers to abandon their hopes and move. The abandoned remains now appear frozen in decay among twisted branches and overgrown vegetation, accessible only by privately owned roads and officially erased from census records, with no separate population figure ever reported. Noccalula Falls Park is famous for its big waterfall that drops straight into the Black Creek Gorge. It used to be called Black Creek Falls, but the story of Princess Noccalula changed that. After she jumped off the falls, her father renamed it and placed a statue of her looking over the water. Beyond the trails and caves, the park's woods and open areas are ideal for northern flickers. Unlike most woodpeckers, these birds spend much of their time on the forest floor, hopping through the leaf litter to reach deep into ant colonies and underground chambers. They feed mainly on ants and beetles gathered from the ground, hammering at soil the way other woodpeckers drill into wood, and have even been observed breaking into cow patties to eat insects living inside. During winter months, when ground-dwelling insects become scarce, they shift to a diet of berries and seeds, including poison oak, poison ivy, dogwood, sumac, wild cherry, grape, and elderberries. However, competition for nesting sites can be fierce. Common starlings often drive flickers from their excavated cavities, forcing them to abandon weeks of labor. Among the ant colonies that flickers hammer into for food, thatching ants build their distinctive mound nests across the park. These tiny architects build massive dirt mounds in open, sunny areas, even sometimes using acid to eliminate any trees or bushes that block sunlight from reaching their nests. Individual workers are about the size of a grain of rice, with reddish-brown heads and dark brown bodies. The species defends its zone like it were a matter of life and death, biting intruders and spraying them with formic acid that can cause blisters on human skin and irritation to household pets. They are hunters, catching many kinds of insects and dragging their prey through the mound's tunnel system to feed the colony. A single colony can last up to 20 years, with thousands of individuals working together like a machine that never stops. Birmingham is the largest city in the state, built on the only place on Earth where iron ore, coal, and limestone naturally meet, thus making steel production remarkably cheap. The city earned its nickname, the Magic City, because downtown transformed from small houses and businesses into one of the most impressive skylines in the region, so fast that it looked like magic had happened overnight. At one intersection, 4 massive office buildings constructed in the early 1900s became known collectively as the heaviest corner on Earth. The city that once forged the raw materials of war has since reinvented itself into a center for medicine, research, and finance. Yet, it also became a center of the civil rights movement, earning the nickname Bombingham because of repeated bombings of black homes, churches, and businesses. Watching over this transformation from the highest point stands the Vulcan statue, a massive iron figure that has become the symbol of the city itself. The Vulcan statue is the world's largest cast iron statue, standing atop Red Mountain, the very place where the iron ore used to create it was once mined. Representing the Roman god of fire and forge, Vulcan symbolizes the city's industrial roots in iron and steel production, a time when the city became one of the nation's largest producers. Weather had worn Vulcan down, so the city took it apart, restored it, and returned it to its pedestal for its 100th anniversary, where it still stands today. The same fire that Vulcan represents once burned fiercely at Sloss furnaces, the backbone of Birmingham's steel empire. Working like a giant kitchen, this iron-making complex turned raw materials into usable metal. Despite using the same technology, the iron made here was cheaper than elsewhere, giving local industries a big advantage. Surrounded by towering smokestacks, rusted machines, and brick tunnels, visitors can imagine the life of the industrial site. Instead of being demolished, local voters approved bond funds to save it, making Sloss the first and only blast furnace in the nation preserved as a historic museum. It was designated a National Historic Landmark even before opening to the public, in recognition of its role in America's rise to industrial power. While Sloss Furnaces shows the industrial era that built the city, another building from the same time tells a different story. Quinlan Castle was a 4-story building with 72 small apartments arranged around a central courtyard. Its concrete frame, clay walls, and rough stone surface made it look like a real castle, built to attract tenants in the growing city. After decades of neglect and decay, the castle was demolished for being unsafe, too costly to repair, and unsuitable for modern use, despite its historic status and plans for a new research lab on the site. Blakeley is now a historic state park with some of the best preserved military fortifications and the remnants of a once busy town. It was notable for the Battle of Fort Blakeley, one of the final major battles of the Civil War, where thousands of soldiers fought and showed remarkable courage. Eventually, the town was abandoned and later became a state park, where ongoing archaeological research continues to uncover evidence of the battle and the experiences of the soldiers who fought there. Located along the Mobile River, Mobile is Alabama's oldest city, established more than a century before the state was officially created. Over time, it became a crossroads of cultures, shaped by diverse influences that still define its food, architecture, and festivals today. In fact, Mobile hosted the first Mardi Gras celebration in the United States, introducing the parades, masks, and throws. During the height of the cotton trade, its port became one of the busiest in the nation, as enslaved labor fueled the trade that passed through its docks. For over 3 centuries, the Port of Mobile remained the city's economic engine, driving commerce, shipbuilding, and international trade. The USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park, located on the western shore of Mobile Bay, is a military museum dedicated to preserving the nation's wartime history. Its main attractions include historic World War II vessels, military aircraft, and memorials honoring the service of American troops. At the center of the park stands the USS Alabama, a 680-foot battleship armed with 9 16-inch guns capable of firing shells, weighing as much as a small car very far. Visitors can explore 12 decks of the ship, from the crew's quarters to the bridge and engine room, to experience life at sea during wartime. The park was made to honor everyone who served in the military and is a strong tribute to their work and sacrifice. It has become a powerful and permanent tribute to their service and sacrifice. Beyond its history, the park is famous for ghost stories, with visitors reporting voices, eerie feelings of being watched, or doors closing on their own. Cathedral caverns formed from Mississippian limestone, laid down 350 to 320 million years ago. Its entrance, 25 feet tall and 128 feet wide, is thought to be the widest of any commercial cave in the world. From this initial chamber, the cave extends more than a mile into the mountain through a series of rooms and passages that showcase extraordinary geological formations. The cave remains a living geological laboratory, where formations grow at roughly 1 cubic inch per century, preserving the spectacular features for generations of visitors. Beyond its rock formations, the cave is alive with animals, including barn owls. These owls take advantage of the stable temperature and protection that the underground space provides year-round. Lined with tiny hooks, their feathers let them fly silently and hunt like nature's own assassins. Hunting at low speeds of just a few miles per hour, they scout the same forests and grasslands nightly, rarely migrating and maintaining year-round territories. Their pale face has a structure that channels sound to ears, giving them extremely sharp hearing. Like a natural radar, this allows barn owls to pinpoint hidden prey, detecting mice and voles beneath leaves, snow, or grass. When attacking, they use their long, razor-sharp talons to capture prey with precision. By using acoustic cues to build a three-dimensional map, they can hunt successfully in total darkness, even where night vision predators cannot. Gaineswood in Demopolis is one of Alabama's most remarkable Greek Revival mansions, though it began as a modest dog trot cabin. Over years of obsessive construction, the original owner designed every architectural detail, while enslaved laborers built carpentry shops, plaster workshops, and kilns on site to realize his vision. Historical sources and records indicate the presence of several additional wooden outbuildings around the property, including a smokehouse, stables, and barns. The mansion blends classical Greek styles, with walls designed to look like solid stone, and a rooftop observatory that crowns the house like a tiara. Completed just as the economic system that funded it collapsed, Gaineswood quickly became a Civil War hospital, and today it stands as a living museum that preserves its original furnishings and architectural innovations for future generations. The Edmund Pettus Bridge is a large steel arch over the Alabama River that was built to replace a ferry and provide a reliable crossing for people and goods. The bridge features 10 reinforced concrete arches and a central steel arch that rises above the river, with a gentle upward curve that concealed armed officers from marchers until they reached the top. Decorative Art Deco railings with kites and chevrons added a touch of beauty, sharply contrasting with the violence of Bloody Sunday, when peaceful civil rights marchers were brutally attacked during the 1965 Selma to Montgomery marches. The bridge stands as a National Historic Landmark, where thousands gather annually to honor the courage of marchers who transformed a monument to white supremacy into a symbol of triumph. Its history and architecture together reflect both the oppressive legacy it was meant to honor and the enduring strength of those who fought for freedom. Repton is a small historic town that grew when a railroad created a transportation hub where none existed before. Its name comes from a word Econeka, meaning land of cane, reflecting the dense cane brakes that once covered the area. At its peak, Repton was a busy railroad town with banks, stores, a cotton gin, a livery stable, hotels, and a hospital. However, the town began to shrink as transportation moved to cars, and truck and trains were no longer the main way to travel and move goods. Efforts later began to preserve its history by turning the abandoned railroad path into a monument and hosting festivals that feel big for such a small town. Now, Repton remains a quiet community that still carries the identity of its railroad past. Montgomery grew when two rival settlements joined just before statehood, and later became known for two very different moments in history. At first, it was the first capital of the Confederate States because its central location and strong transport links made it an easy meeting spot. Later, it became a hub of the modern civil rights movement, witnessing bus boycotts, marches, and protests that helped shape the fight for racial equality. Being by the river made it a center for the cotton trade, and the wealth from this industry attracted doctors, lawyers, and political influence. This success led the state government to move the capital from Tuscaloosa to Montgomery. Over time, the economy shifted towards services like government work and healthcare, while industries such as poultry, manufacturing, and aerospace still provide jobs. At the center of it all, the Alabama state capitol shows Montgomery's journey from cotton wealth to a place of political and social importance. Sitting atop Goat Hill in Montgomery, the building occupies a site chosen for its commanding view and river access, which once made the area a strategic hub. When the city was named the state capital, it became the central seat of government, where leaders declared secession and organized their forces. The Greek Revival-style facade features tall white columns and a triangular pediment, giving the building a stately presence that reflects the ideals of democracy and power it was built to represent. Inside, the three-story building features Tower of the Winds, Corinthian columns, and a dome that soars above the central rotunda. Now, it functions as a government building and a museum, where visitors can walk through its grand halls and learn about its history in politics and civil rights. capital was rooted in the fields of upland cotton that surrounded the city. Since it's the most common cotton grown in the United States, Montgomery became a major center for its cultivation due to fertile soil and a warm climate. The plant grows from seeds into a bushy shrub with multiple branches, producing flowers that turn into cotton bolls over time. Pollinators such as bees and insects are essential because they transfer pollen between flowers, allowing the bolls to form properly. Each cotton ball has seeds covered in soft fibers, and when people turn these fibers into cloth, the plant becomes both special and useful. Over the centuries, upland cotton shaped agriculture in the region, with fields expanding across the land and requiring organized planting and harvesting methods. Mechanized farming now handles most of the work, but the plant itself continues to grow in the same way. Eventually, it became just one of many crops grown in surrounding counties, and it lost its position as the main economic force as the city's economy diversified. This is Alabama, a land of hidden wonders and remarkable architectural marvels. Now, if you don't want to miss the most unreal wonders of Great Smoky Mountain, check out this video.